Hi, Neha.
Yeah, hi.
Neha, hi, this is Nitin.
Hi,
Just
Nitin.
logged in from another device. Not able
Sure.
to switch on my laptop camera. I think that has an issue.
Okay, not a problem. So I can't see people joining in. Can we start in the meanwhile?
Yeah, I think we can start.
Okay, great. Fantastic. So hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on empowering women entrepreneurs through business competitions. And why is this an important discussion? Just to set the tone and context of our discussion today. So what we found, studies upon studies have shown that women are very underrepresented at prominent business competitions. And at the early stage, where you're trying to validate your market and you're trying to establish the product market fit, it can be really important to have that feedback loop in where you go to prominent business competitions, participate, and you access a lot of resources and mentorship and guidance, right, and validation. So we just want to set that right by way of initiating our discussion today with our very esteemed panelists of entrepreneurs and startup mentors who will kind of help us decode the opportunity that is present in participating in these competitions, and how we can make best use of these opportunities, and how we can prime ourselves for success. That's what we'll orient our discussion towards today. So very quickly, let me first introduce you all to our esteemed panelists here. So we have Vinod Suji. He's the co-founder and MD of Hughes Cystic Corporation, and he is a prolific startup mentor. He's also part of many startup organizations like NASSCOM, and he's also a TiE Charter member. And he has extensive experience being on the jury of a lot of these prominent pitch competitions that we hear of. Then we have Sahil. Sahil is a femcare entrepreneur. He's the founder and CEO at Soothe Healthcare, which is known for their brand in the femcare space, Pari. And of course, he has a long entrepreneurial experience, right? And he also is a diversity expert. So he'll also be sharing his views with us today. He's also a business school faculty. Then we have our entrepreneurs, Sadhika and Dr. Sarita with us, who are actually very experienced also in, successfully participating in a lot of the pitch competitions, and they have a great track record of entrepreneurship. So Sadhika is co-founder and CEO of Linkit, and she has a decade-long experience in the logistics space as a CEO and founder. And she has also recently been awarded Times 40 Under 40. And then we have Dr. Sarita as well with us, and she is the MD co-founder of BotLab Dynamics at IIT Delhi. And she's the winner of the TiE Women Pitch Competition out of Delhi. And she also won the Best B2B Award in the Global TiE Pitch Competition. And last but not the least, we have Ranjana here. So Ranjana is basically she is the co-chair of the TiE Global Women, and she's an entrepreneur in the fine dining restaurant space. She's partner at the Terraco, and she's the immediate past president of TiE Coimbatore chapter and co-lead at the TiE Global Women. So we will have very interesting perspectives coming in today. And should you have any questions, we'll keep them for probably the end of the conversation, or if you can use the chat window as well to pose questions that you may have during the course of our discussion. So I would start by maybe posing a few questions to our panelists, and starting with Vinodji. Vinodji, I want to understand from you, what do jury typically look for when you go to participate in these pitch competitions? What is it that the jury is looking for in the startups?
So thank you, Neha. And I think a very, very relevant and a topical subject which TiE has chosen. So to answer your question, actually, depending on the type and nature of the competition, there'll be some specific areas which the jury members will be looking for. However, in general, I think, and I've been on quite a few juries, there are 4 broad themes which the jury is interested in. So it is important that you talk about, first and foremost, your idea, the product or the solution you're building. What is the problem you are solving or a customer need you are fulfilling with your product offering or your solution? And while talking about this, I think what is important is that you bring in what is your unique proposition. It can be innovation, it can be a IP you have created, or how you are doing something differently, more efficiently. In fact, it doesn't matter if someone else also is doing something similar, or there is a large enterprise which is doing the same thing. Okay. What needs to come out is that how you are doing it differently, how you are doing it more efficiently and effectively, maybe how you are making sure that the customer journey or the customer experience, okay, goes to the next level, is much more flawless, seamless, frictionless. Okay. The second most important thing which the jury is looking for is around the team, about you as a founder. Okay. How, in fact, you should bring out how you are the best person, okay, to solve the problem you are trying to solve. Okay. And something about your core team, their core competencies, how each one of your core team members are complementing each other, and what makes this team as the most capable team to execute your vision. The third one, I think, is around the markets. Have you done enough study of the market? What is the overall market size? What is the segment within that market you are going to be targeting? Your competition, have you studied your competition, your go-to-market strategy, basically around your sales and marketing. Okay. And the fourth one, last, but I think pretty important, since here we are talking about business competitions, is your business plan, the financials. Okay. Is your business viable? Okay. Is it scalable? Is it sustainable? You should have a pretty clear idea about your numbers. And again, depending on what your business is, right? Some of these metrics, some of these numbers will be different, but typically your revenues, your operating margins, EBITDA, unit economics, etc. So I think what your pitch should cover in some way or the other is aspects related to what these 3 or 4 points I talked about. Okay. I think what eventually makes a big difference is that while you are presenting, while you are telling your story, how confident you are. Okay. And that, I think, gives a very good feeling to the jury.
So all great points made there, Vinodji. Thank you so much. I think these are definitely the constituents of crafting a compelling pitch. I think that's really important. These are the ingredients that go into it. But also, I would want to ask you, like, what could be some of the ways in which you as a startup mentor would want to motivate and encourage more women entrepreneurs to engage and to apply for these competitions, seeing as they generally don't?
Yeah, and in fact, you quoted some statistics, and my observation also is very similar. In fact, my observation is that in general, founders are hesitant in applying to these competitions, and women entrepreneurs, as you also mentioned, are much more reluctant.
That's true.
I think what they feel is that they're not going to make it, so why spend the time? This time, because you have limited time and resources, this time you can better spend in terms of building your business, building your product, chasing funding. Okay. So in fact, what I try and encourage all my mentees is that do go and apply to some of these competitions. And obviously, you need to make sure that you are not applying to all the competitions. You are applying to only those competitions which are being organized or promoted by reputed institutions or organizations like TIE. Okay. So I think 3 or 4 things which I tell my mentees while I'm encouraging and motivating them to apply is that, in fact, right at the very beginning, as part of the application process itself, while filling in the form or answering the questions, okay, many times, right, you get to realize that there are certain aspects of your business which you might not have thought through, okay, or might not have done a lot of due diligence or research. So my experiences and some of my mentees, in fact, after they have applied to these competitions, they have come back and told me is that the process helped them in critically reviewing and analyzing their own business plan. Okay. Second, which is also very important, is that while you are preparing and rehearsing to present to the jury, it gives you as a founder an opportunity to sharpen your pitch. Okay. And when you are presenting to the jury, you actually get an opportunity to talk to and face a diverse set of very accomplished individuals from very different backgrounds. Okay. Corporate executives, successful entrepreneurs themselves, investors, etc. And when you are answering their questions, or when you hear their comments, right, you get to hear about slightly a different perspective, which comes based on their experience, okay, and their knowledge. And I think another one is, in fact, you get a pretty much a free platform where you get to present your company, the business you are building, tell the world about what you are and what you are doing. I think a great opportunity to promote your brand, okay, which comes with applying to a business competition. And I think another one gives you an opportunity to build a network, get to know the people, again, as I said, who come from different backgrounds, different domains. Okay. This later I have seen, and again, based on the feedback I get, is helps you while you are growing your company, while you are scaling up the company in terms of as you are building the team, hiring senior people, enterprise connect, which in turn can help you in winning business and sometimes can even lead to a acquisition, right? Raising investments and so on and so forth. And before I end, the cherry on the cake is that there is always a probability, right? A good chance that you may win, right? And as part of that, you get to whatever is part of that winning package. So I would suggest and encourage everyone to definitely look at few of these competitions and do apply.
Great thoughts there, Vinodji. I'll actually now move on to Sadhika. Sadhika, I want to kind of, get you talking about your entrepreneurial journey and how has participating in these competitions, preparing for them, helped in the grand scheme of things. I want your perspectives, please, if you could share.
Sure. So just to give a little bit of a background to people who are attending. So my startup is Linkit, and we are basically a business to business type of interaction for supply chain automation solutions. So in fact, it's about 5 years since we started the business. So we actually got into competitions kind of later in the life cycle of our business. We're a fully, revenue financed company. So we never went out asking for funds or doing any of the investor pitches. So for us, applying for business competitions was slightly a different type of muscle that we had to exercise. So for the first few years of our business, it was all about growing our product, going and talking to clients and trying to actually, solve their problems and talking about their problems, their use cases, how they were going to get like, an ROI from implementing a solution that we had. So when it came to doing business competitions, it was kind of thinking about our business and thinking about our pitch in a very different way. Because, like Vinodji said, it is a lot about telling your own story, who you are, why you are best positioned at your business, and it was a lot about answering some of the questions that we never, had thought about before. So from a business competitions point of view, the couple of things that I think are important are that it is great external validation, or great external critique from someone who's very objective to your business. When we used to have a lot of these interactions with, let's say, a potential client, there is an element of negotiation of contract terms or price or whatever there is, and that kind of skews the discussion or that you're going to have. It's a very different discussion versus when you're sitting here in a business competition and presenting your idea or presenting your business, you get you get great objective, either positive or even critiques that can help you actually do better as a business. The second thing is, it really also is very a great way to look inward and think about your business sort of from a bird's eye view, which sometimes as like a founder you don't get a chance to do because you are so caught up in like the day-to-day operations, and you're kind of working from like purchase order or a subscription or user. You're looking at those smaller metrics in everyday life. So I think that a business competition really helps you to get a bird's eye view of your own business as well, which I think is really important for founders. It was a really helpful process for us. And I think the third aspect is the part that it really helps put your business out there. Now, as a B2B business, it's not a business that you're going to go, that anyone's probably even heard of you, or it's not as widespread in terms of your name and branding. And if you haven't gotten funding, nobody's even in, like, I would say, the general startup ecosystem, people haven't really heard of you. So another great thing is putting yourself out there and putting your name out there. And so for us, we were at the Thai Loomis Partners competition, which was a few months ago. And I remember that when we were there, and they were like, okay, yeah, your business is doing great. Why have we never heard of you? And it's only because we weren't part of, this sort of like ecosystem. So I think that this ecosystem is out there, and everyone should, leverage it. And as a special, something, since this is for women in particular, I would say that business competitions provides a really level and fair playing field, where I think that there isn't any reason for someone to feel that like they would be not given preference or they won't be considered. I think that it's a great level playing field to, to go and take advantage of it, get positive reinforcement, get good, feedback that can help you improve your business, and put your name out there.
Absolutely. Great points made, Sadhika. I think, also that point about how day-to-day business interactions are more transactional, whereas, when you go towards, when you go and participate in a pitch competition or in a business pitch competition, you get that platform from where you can, have more relational interactions and you can get a bird's eye view. I think that's a fantastic point to note, because there's a lot of value in it. There's a lot of value in getting that kind of feedback and validation, and also that recognition. I think that platform that you get, where first nobody has heard about you, but then suddenly there are so many people who know about the great stuff that you're building. I think there's a lot of value in that. So thanks so much for your thoughts. So I think we'll move to Sarita. I want to also get Sarita's perspectives and also her journey, because, she has won the Delhi, the Delhi round of the pitch competition. And then she also went on to the global forum, and she won there as well. So I want to know how, Sarita, you started about, thinking and approaching the competition. How did you prepare? How did you prime yourself for success? And how has it helped you in your entrepreneurial journey? Can't hear you. I think you're on mute. Yeah.
Hi, sorry, I was on mute. Hi, Neha. Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here and sharing our story. So just a little bit background about ourselves. We are a drone startup, which falls into the category of hardware. And building hardware in India has been a challenge, at least in this decade. And so there are very few startups in this domain. And when we started back in 2016 at IIT Delhi, so we did not know how to, because we were very good at building the technology, but we honestly had no idea how to share our idea, what it means. And as Sood sir said, your business plan, your numbers, and we had really no idea how to come up with all of that. And initially we struggled quite a bit. And so for first couple of years, we focused on building the technology. And while in between, we were trying to share our ideas, what actually we do, it was an immense struggle that nobody seemed to understand. And so after struggling, and at one point we started raising funds, and we realized that we really now need to know how to communicate what exactly we do. It's not a SaaS platform. It's going to be very different than what's actually being popular. And at that time, we happened to come across Tie the Knot competition by Tie, and we were in final. And at that point, I realized the value of the competitions. And as Sadika said, Sood sir said, it's a free platform where people are listening to you intently. They're giving you genuine feedback, and they're very honest and sometimes very brutal in telling you the truth, which generally you don't hear from your co-founders or your team. And that was really a very eye-opening experience for us. And in some ways, it also kind of, जैसे वो बोलते हैं ना कि शेर के मुंह में खून लग जाता है type, तो I realized it was a great way of actually learning. You meet and in the Knot competition, honestly, the more than half the participants were women, and it was very nice to see how women were pitching, and we could learn from each other. In fact, our mentors were women, Geeta Dan, Kalpana Jain, and with that, after being in final, taking the feedback, and because we knew we had to raise funds, and same questions will keep coming again and again, and how do we answer those questions? And we would go back and do our homework. And I started pitching a lot more. I went to literally every open mic that Tie had offered in that period. And I went to multiple of them, and I didn't care that it was small or big. And with each, we got really better. And then I applied for this woman competition, and then we actually did not make it that year. And then following year, I applied again. And I see, and I actually feel as a contestant, my takeaway was it really doesn't matter कि आप जीत रहे हो कि हार रहे हो. उसमें the whole process was very important, because you're going through multiple stages, and each stage you were asked different things. So for example, when you're writing in the first stage, when you're applying, they ask you to write. They ask you to write your plans in great details, and they evaluate you on that. And then you have to pitch to a local committee, and then the committee gets the next level. And I found at each level, it's a different challenge that you're going through, and you're getting better at actually your own ideas, your own business plan get more and more crystallized. And then you learn to speak the language that people understand in terms of, and then and because of that, I can say that now we have been able to raise a couple of rounds. We've created good business. we have made decent revenue. And I think it all is a part of learning, and it has. And if I were to be recommending someone, I highly recommend that please go participate in competitions or go to these conferences, have in person, more organized, because when you meet people one-on-one, it takes a lot more time, and you could even get dejected because one person you're meeting may not understand, and you may feel that entire investor community is like that. Probably not. So when you meet people in large numbers, so you do find sympathetic ear, you find people who are more encouraging, you do find mentors, you do find friends, and occasionally you do find business too. So I think overall it's early in the startup career, I say every conference, you must find time and go for it.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Sarita, for sharing your journey. I think some really valuable takeaways there, because like you mentioned about, Geeta Dang and, Kalpana Jain, these are very prominent,
Yes.
figures in the startup mentoring world. And, I mean, if you would consider, meeting them through warm introductions, as opposed to meeting them directly when they heard your business idea directly, intently, I think, you derived a lot of value from, participating early on, because you got mentors on board. And then, you shed light on how, you did early course correction also, and that helped you secure funding rounds. You also, managed to, generate great revenue out of that. So I think what has happened is early on at the early stage, you got the feedback that you probably needed to build a great enterprise. So I think that is really important, and that is why we're having this discussion, because that reluctance that comes with saying, oh, I won't apply because I won't win. I think there isn't that much merit in thinking like that, because what ends up happening is you also miss out on the opportunities to get these great mentors on board, who can help you through the, your journey, through your entrepreneurial journey as well. So yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll just add one more point.
Sure, yeah.
So when you do these competitions and all these participants, your mentors, actually they become your cheerleaders too. So when you win or you do something, so when we did a show at Rashtrapati Bhavan, we flew 1,000 rooms and then we flew 3,500. I got these personal messages from the entire cohort. Everybody messaged, so many of them called. And because actually with the entrepreneur journey, one thing we sometimes fail to recognize is a very lonely journey. What you do, you really don't find, your family doesn't understand what you do, your friends don't understand why are you not getting paid, and 5 years you're working on it. So I felt that this community that you build through these associations, and they really becomes your genuine cheerleaders, and it gives the sense of real accomplishment that there are people who really care about you. So I think that is a side,
Yeah, that's very important. I think just having that community that supports you, and as you very rightly mentioned, entrepreneurship can be a lonely journey. And I think if you find a community, that supports you, that roots for you, that is your cheerleader, I think that's an incredible thing, because that is the thing with entrepreneurship, is it's uncertain, and often there are many ambiguous decisions that one has to make. It's not a very linear course. So one has to do many iterations, especially at early stage, and all that feedback, all that support is vital. And I think this is a great way to kind of forge those connections that stay with us for a long time. Right. So also, as Sadhika mentioned, it's about building that muscle, where you may not succeed the first time around. The first business pitch competition you go to, you may not, necessarily win. But then over the course of, trying to kind of applying and, kind of trying to break into this space, I think you get better. Right. So I think great points made there. So I also want to now move on to Sahil here. Sahil, I want to understand, because you have worked, in the femcare space, and, you do understand that women do bring diverse ideas and perspectives, and that leads to innovative solutions. So have you seen this diversity of thought play out at the business competitions? And how can we leverage to make a strong case in these competitive environments?
So, well, first of all, I think I would like to encourage that more of this happen. I think we are all aligned to say that the number of women that actually participate is low, and that's why we're here. So I think more of that effort is required, and perhaps it's a more at first blush, it's more of a confidence. It's more of a what am I really going to do achieve over there, and as many other than many other panelists have said. But from my perspective, yes, I think in the end and in the long term, diversity, which leads to best of breed of ideas, is critical, whether it is a judge in a competition, allocating money as a VC, or awarding a contract to the best vendor. You want to be able to see the best of breed, best of ideas available at the table, because in the long run, it's only that diversity that wins and prevents black swan events. Black swan events are those unheard of, never thought of events that actually happen, and it can sink a business. So diversity is very critical to the long-term success of a business or even a competition, which is where such discovery happens. So I think it's critical. From our perspective, women form an important cohort is the wrong way of saying it, but an important. Did you know 80% purchases a household in the Asian or Indian context are made by women? So for example, if you are a product company, you probably know a lot more about that product that is being used. Women purchase everything from bar of soap to underwear in the house, including the man. So, and then there are many other problems to solve in India other than just creating the next app, right? So there are serious and good and meaty problems to solve. So I think I would encourage women to actually think in terms of that you know a lot more than you think you know. And women form a very viable, profitable business case. This isn't feminist. This isn't fluff. It makes a lot of business sense. So I think as an entrepreneur and as an ex-banker, that's what I would put forward, to say that this is a very bankable commodity. You should come out and actually do good business because you just know a lot more about it than most other people actually we think we know. So to give an example of our business, Neha, we're a consumer healthcare company. We manufacture, distribute, and market personal hygiene products. Pari sanitary pads is one of our flagship brand. This company is run by this building. Our corporate staff is 80% women. 70% of my CEO's management team is women. And this is how much does a guy know about sanitary pads, right? So this is how we find consumer insights. Like, what does she want? What does a consumer want? To product development ideas, where this is the need gap, therefore product needs to solve this, and therefore the placement, and therefore the communication or the promotion and price and so on. It's actually this group that provides that play and that the consumer insights to be able to solve the problem. So, that's our example I would like to share.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense, because I feel that, as women entrepreneurs, I think would have an edge, of some sort, that should encourage them to apply. That edge is
absolutely
the what you pointed out. I think they know the customers really well, and they know
they tend to devalue their knowledge.
Correct.
Actually, it's not. You know a lot more. Yeah.
Exactly. I think so. Statistics tell us that about only 17% women applicants, women founders apply to the business competition. So 17% is a very skewed number.
Yes.
And findings tell us that, one of the key reasons they feel discouraged to apply is they feel that they're not good enough or they will not win. And I think here in this discussion, I think what we are trying to do is bring out those points that they need to remember, that they can prepare themselves to be better, but they're also already better in many ways. They already have an edge in many ways, because they bring a unique perspective. As you mentioned, very rightly, they bring a unique knowledge of the, the consumer base that they are targeting. They more intimately understand, the user journey many of the times, the pain points, and those are all the things that can enable us to enable them to own their stories. So they have to own the narrative, as they say. And once you do, I think, as Sadhika mentioned, you get better and better at it. As Sarita also said, that initially you can feel maybe discouraged about it, but then, that's the first time, you do anything. But then over the course of, preparations and, filling out those initial forms, where you have to really think about your business, I think that enables us to kind of see our business more holistically, but at the same time also understand our own strengths. I think as women founders, we also need to probably work a little more on understanding our own strengths, because there is that element of, devaluing, ourselves, or thinking we're not good enough. So with that thought, I'll proceed to Ranjana. Ranjana, I want to understand first from you. Do you when you over the course of your work with Thai women, have you observed that there is a difference in the attitude with which women approach business? Is there something unique or different about it?
Good morning. First of all, I must say most of the details have been shared by Sarita and Sadhika about how their experience as being women entrepreneurs. I wish during my time when I had started my journey, these kind of opportunities, mentorship was available. But nevertheless, it's if you're ready to learn, you can learn anytime. So a couple of things. I'm part of Thai since 6 years now, and immediate past president of Thai Coimbatore chapter. Working very closely with the global leaders also, those who are part of Thai. I see a difference, when you come from a small town, you view businesses very differently as compared to the exposure what Sarita and Sadhika gets. You're from Delhi and NCR region, and of course Chennai, Mumbai. All these cities offer a different platform to women. But when you come from a small town like where I'm from, Coimbatore, one is I feel the innovation or the exposure, the communication skills, or the product what they choose, they still want to stick to the social entrepreneurship, hardcore business. It doesn't come so naturally to them, and of course the fear of failure, fear of participation in this global pitch competition where everyone is equal. Nobody sees where you're coming from. If your product or service is good, the platform is all yours, and that's fear. I think those are my observation about since I've joined Thai, and particularly at the pitch competition is going to happen in Singapore in the month of November. That's my observation. But we encourage women here. I've been personally calling up. I've seen certain products in Coimbatore where it's a good product, but they are scared. And the company formation is also another little skewed there. You have to guide them how to take it forward because your product line is good, but you have to streamline now. Those differences are there. Regarding a pitch competition which is happening in November, the applications are already open. 10th July application closes, and then we have a chapter level competition going to take place. And from August onwards, the global leader will start mentoring the winners of the chapters, so they get prepared to participate in November in Singapore. The opportunities galore. I like as Sarita mentioned there. The other thing is this discomfort zone of from stepping out from the comfort zone can be terrible, or I would say difficult for women to go. Why should we go there? Then they start justifying. My family, my support system. You don't know my problems, what I'm going through. These kind of narratives they start giving it to themselves and start, as Sahil said, devalue their own potential. But that's not the case. And there we come in the picture to start playing a role, and as role models also, how it is important to be part of these competition and see a world from different perspective. Women are doing phenomenally well all over. It's just that we are not able to tap it, and this 17% has to jump quickly so that our country's economy also grows. as quickly as possible, So if you ask me, we are on it and encouraging more number of women to be part of this competition. Winning, losing is separate, but the confidence what you carry it after that, and the critical review what you get about your business plans, and that's what makes women a stronger woman. I feel that. Let's get ready for all that, and all of us put together will have to make a difference in their lives.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Ranjana, for firstly shedding light on how culturally we tend to approach different business in different ways, and, what we, bring in terms of our strengths and weaknesses on the table, and how to rationalize that and how to move past that. Great points made there. I want to also kind of maybe let our audience know about the upcoming TIE pitch competition, how they can apply, and why it's a fantastic opportunity. You did kind of briefly shed light on it, but if you could just maybe elaborate on that for their benefit.
Yeah, so actually what I've done is I've shared the deck with Nitin, and I've asked him to share with all the audience, which has all the details, the application link, and what is the prize money is $50,000 US, equity free, global platform, chances to meet investors. You may win, you may not win, you never know who's going to be investing into your company. So, and of course, global network, mentored, you're going to get mentored by the global leaders. Post, I think August, we're going to start all that. We have open mic, where you're going to get a chance to speak about your business. This is what the plans are all about. And it's not only going to be a generic mentorship, but industry specific mentorships are also going to be available for people. So most of the details are mentioned in the deck, and I'll ask Nitin to share with everyone.
Great. I think a lot of the audience would now feel encouraged to apply as well. I think just a couple of questions I'm seeing on the Q&A. So I think Megha has a question, Shaila has a question. So I think we can probably, address the questions now. I think they're not to any person in particular, but so Megha is saying that my strength lies in understanding customers and their problems in depth and finding solutions. How can I find co-founders who specialize in different areas to complement my skills, such as technology or operations? I want to build a technology solution to solve for nutrition and health issues for everyone, not just the bottom or top. I would address this question to Vinodji. Vinodji, I think as a mentor, and especially in the innovation field, I think if you could guide Megha on how she can find complementary co-founders.
Yeah, so I think 2 or 3 things. One, definitely become member of there are different industry bodies, and depending on where you are based, right? So you may look at a TIE chapter, you may like to become a member of that. In some other places, there might not be a TIE chapter, there might be a NASCOM or a CII chapters, or there are a number of institutional incubators which are coming up, right? As Sarita mentioned, and she started a journey at IIT Delhi in terms of building the company. So all these are places, right, where you get a good opportunity to network, okay, get to know other fellow entrepreneurs, and in the process, right, you may be able to find a co-founder who has complementary skills. So that is one mechanism. And second, I think there are a number of, platforms available, okay, where you can apply, or where you can post in terms of the business you are building, and that you are specifically looking for a co-founder. You can use LinkedIn. So I think these are some of the mechanisms which are there, right? But what essentially it means is that you need to come out of your shell, right? Go out, start networking, start talking to other people within the ecosystem, and use all the opportunities, right, within the ecosystem. And compared to what the situation was, I think 10, 12 years back, I think there are many forums available. The ecosystem is much more supportive So this is what I think I can say based on my experience, but I think other panelists also may be able to add.
Sahil, would you want to maybe talk about it?
Yeah, no, I can't stress enough the importance of forums like TIE, where I have, from the beginning, I've been with TIE from, I think, 8 or 10 years, and now I'm a charter member, and I've gained a lot. So I would second, that, if you're looking for a co-founder, number one, you need to look for somebody who's complementary to your skill set. That can be debated which skill set, but such forums and such events do try to show up, do try to meet people. I have built long-term, valuable, meaningful relationships, and people at TIE have helped me when I was not expecting anybody to do anything, and it has really made a difference and moved the needle for us. So totally encourage it. Absolutely.
Absolutely, I agree. I think these, these platforms are like safe spaces, for entrepreneurs early on in their journey. And, whether it's the competition or the networking, you get to meet people who are also, having similar intentions, and to you, and they can have complementary skills. So definitely use all.
And I'd just like to add that people also expect that if I came today and in 1 hour I'll get funding or I'll get this thing. Nahin, aisa nahi hota hai. Right, you have to also make an investment. So I sit in various committees like CI, etc., and people just show up and say, now I'm here, now I want a solution. Like, no, it doesn't work like that, right? So you have to give it its due investment of time for people to say, do I want to help this person? So it takes a little while. Absolutely. But I can assure you it's worth it, because like you said, it's a safe place. People want to help. And curators of this forum like Nitin, like Geetika and all, make sure that it's filled with people who are, passionate about helping. So,
absolutely.
I'll just add a sentence. I think you have to go and ask for help. Okay.
Yeah, that too.
All of us, and that's a human nature, right? And especially entrepreneurs, founders, right? They sometimes are hesitant in asking for help. Okay, it's that mindset. So unless and until we ask for help, right? It'll not happen. So I think that is important, right? Go out and ask for help. Don't hesitate. And yes, as Sahil mentioned, right? You will hear 10 no's, right? But then there'll be one yes. And I'll recount my journey, how I became more involved as a mentor. All of you know Ritesh Agarwal of Oyo. So I was pretty much his first mentor and advisor. So in 2012, 11, when he came from Kota to Delhi, and he said that this IIT JEE is not my cup of tea, and I have this idea. In fact, he used to gate crash some of these startup events. And and that time at NASSCOM, we used to run a Emerge Out program, a mentor-mentee program. And I used to be one of the mentors. And we used to have every 6 months a graduation kind of a ceremony. And apparently he heard me talking about my experience as a mentor in one of those programs. And he couldn't meet me in that event. But after a couple of weeks, I get a call from my receptionist that there is a boy, Ritesh Agarwal, who is here to meet you. So I said that, but I don't know any Ritesh, and I haven't given any time, but anyhow, I'm free, I'm not in a meeting, so why don't you send him over? And here comes this boy, a 18-year-old boy. He had not even turned 18, in fact. And he says that, Vinod, sir, I'm blah, blah, blah. But I said, but I don't know how did you get to know me? So he told me that I heard you, and then I found who you are and where you work, where your office address is, and here I am. So he made all that effort and came, and then I decided that after hearing him, that I'll help him, even though I do not come from the hospitality industry. I'm a tech guy. So I asked him that I can't help you. I don't know anything about hotels and guest houses. So he said, sir, that is something which I will work on and I have worked on. But what I need your help is, while I build my enterprise, how do I build my team, right? How do I network? How do I go out, right? And so on and so forth. So I just thought that I'll share the story.
Well,
Can I
great.
want to add, sorry, can I add something?
Yeah, please.
While when Vinodji said that, it's a hesitance, I think it's a fear of rejection is also there when women don't go forward, And at the same time, I request, and I just do become a part of TIE associate members and join TIE. 30 years of experience, presence in 14 countries. And we have flagship events, whether it's TIE University program, whether it's TYE, whether we have TIE Angel Network, and then women program. So imagine the experience and the network what we have, which can be offered to these women, aspiring women entrepreneurs, established women entrepreneurs. It's going to make a difference in their life. So I request everyone to be part of this TIE journey and participate in the pitch competition, which is going to be happening in Singapore in November.
Great points made. Actually, this also answered a few of our other questions that we had from our audience. So some of the questions were centered around how to find a mentor. I think G, Ranjana all addressed them as well. Be a part of these communities, right? Go out of your comfort zone a little bit. Ask for help. I think those are all the ways you find mentors. You have to put yourself out there, right? I mean, 80% of life is showing up. So you have to show up, I think. The other thing, somebody's asked me that we have multiple questions around that is sector specific. So are these pitch competitions sector specific? Because somebody is saying that we are not deep tech, but they look at deep tech. So maybe Sarita, if you would start by maybe answering that.
So no, none of these competitions are sector specific. And that's what we found that, so yes, there's some people we may not understand what your story is, but in general, people are willing to listen, and you could pitch any idea from footwear to hairstyle gel or anything. And in our competition, we had people from across the board, from very deep tech to, SaaS platform to very many ideas. So yes, the answer is no, it's not, almost never.
Not the case. Yeah, so it's not sector specific because a lot of them are thinking that since they are not tech, maybe they are, this is not relevant for them, but that's not the case.
But I also like to add, Neha, it's like finding mentor, and as Vinod sir said, not everybody is as brave as Ritesh early on. So what we found, and we were also very shy when we went to these, because there are also physical meetup of TIE or any other organization where you're asked to come and, mix and introduce yourself. And what helps is that, so if you've been part of this competition, at least a couple of guys in the group, and you can ask them to introduce you. And where we found our mentors and TIE team has very successfully done it for us. So if you're in any group and if I ask that I'm really interested to talk to this person, they're in hardware sphere or they're in B2B, and that's what the TIE team has done it for us. So they go and make a personal introduction, take us physically, and it really helps.
Yeah, for sure. That's great support right there. Another question or two we have. I think we do have some time as well. So, somebody is asking, is there any specific, criteria that judges look at? Sheila, it's Sheila's question. Are there any specific criteria that judges look for when evaluating women-led ventures in these competitions? I don't think they make that distinction. So
yeah, how much money are they going to make me? That's what they look for.
Absolutely, yeah. So investors
gender is not when you're in business, gender is not seen.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's more from your own conditioning, where we want you to apply because we feel you are just as capable, and the jury does not care what your gender is. The jury basically cares about the merit of your business and how well you're telling your story. Another question for Sadhika. Sadhika, are there any specific tips or strategies that you could recommend to women founders to maximize their chances of success in a business competition? How to prepare over the course of time?
I would say to all founders, not just women founders, because I think the key to success, honestly, is if you have to consider yourself as safe. I always feel like for us, like going to school is like a great example, because I feel like when you are actually in school and we all gave our boards and whatever, we never thought about like, if I was a girl, am I better positioned or worse positioned at succeeding at this? Or, and I think that that's the same way that we have to kind of think about business competitions as well. It is a level playing field. You have to consider yourself to be the same. You are not better or worse positioned at getting success. Tips in general I would say it's a couple of things. One, you have to think about at what stage of your business do you want to kind of get into the business competition I guess ecosystem, because it is an investment. And we've all talked about this. You have to take out time and energy from other things and put it into preparing for business competitions. There are written applications. We applied for the National Startup Award. You had to put a lot of videos and and decks and long essays, and then go through multiple rounds of interviews as well. Some will be virtual, some will be online. So each one is going to be slightly different. So you have to prepare, and so you have to take out time. So you I think the important thing is at what stage of your business you're applying for that particular business competition. Like I said, for us, it was kind of later on, because we focused a lot initially on sort of building the business up. And then we wanted to apply for competitions when we saw the benefit and sort of being part of that process. The other general, I would say, tip is to, I know that sometimes it feels like an opportunity cost, or sort of like, should I spend time on this versus on my regular business activities? But honestly, I think that as long as we think about this sort of being a helpful process that eventually helps us in our business, a lot of the content we created, we were able to actually utilize now for other things as well, whether it was trade shows we did or website content and all of that. So I think it is an investment that is not just specifically for a business competition, but think about it in a way that you can kind of leverage all of that practice, all of that, time that you've spent in other ways for enhancing your business as well. And I think that once we're able to kind of do that, it makes it a lot easier to set aside time.
I'd like just to add something to that, Neha. I think, if I may, people try to be someone else. I think don't try to do that. When you're on stage, when you're presenting, one is looking for what's different about you. So, don't try to be someone else, because people can see through that. And secondly, I hope you find that passion for what you're doing, because that is infective, that rubs off, and people can see through. If you love your job, you like what you're doing, then you're more likely to succeed. And I know this is kind of a hit or miss. Either you do or you don't. So I hope you find that. But this is the stuff that get noticed immediately.
That's true. That confidence is, what's most essential, I think, to even succeed in any business environment, right? We have to have that conviction, right, that we carry as founders, that we believe first and foremost in what we are building. We know what pain points we are solving. And I think that's where it all starts. One last question from Rashmi. Rashmi is asking, that the pitch competition, can we apply if we are just in idea stage, or we need to have a certain, level of maturity in the business?
No, not in the idea stage.
That'd be too early.
That would be too early, yes.
Yeah. So I think, is there a
Just
criteria?
in the revenue mode, yes.
Yeah. So I think once they get the detailed presentation, they would be able to see the criteria.
Yes.
Once you meet the criteria, then you can apply. But it's still not early to maybe attend conferences and networking events, so that you can get that very early traction. You can help get it. So definitely you should still be on the lookout for such similar opportunities and maybe open mic events. I think with this, Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, and in fact, I want to just add on your recently Delhi had a TiECon, and which happens all over the country and all over the world. Whenever they get the opportunity, they must attend these TiECons and definitely become members of the Delhi chapter if they live there, or any other nearest chapter which they're closer to them, and it makes a difference. TiECon definitely makes a difference.
Oh yes, TiECon is
Attending TiECons, yes.
yeah. It's an event on a very large scale, and I think it's a fantastic networking opportunity. And you pretty much run into mentors, these veterans of the business field, just over coffee, and you can bounce off your ideas. I think it's a fantastic way to get the conversation going and making some valuable connections very early on. In fact, even to find co-founders, as someone had mentioned, I think it's really helpful for that as well. I think with this, we have reached the end of our session today. I think it has been a great session. I would like to thank you all our esteemed panelists, as well as Ty for conducting this event, and also to our audience for patiently listening in and for all your great questions there, and hope we have been of help.
Thank you so much, Neha. Thank you so much, all the panel members. I'm sorry, technical glitch, and I could not join in well on time, but thank you, Neha, for taking through the session well on time. We had an amazing conversation. Please go ahead and get in touch with all of us at TiE Delhi. We'll be happy to connect to relevant mentors you have all written across to us who you want to get in touch with. All the people on the panel are more than happy to spend time with you whenever possible. And also that's what I can vouch for. And go ahead and apply for whatever competitions come across your way. TiE Women Pitch competitions right across the corner, but that's not the only one. There's several ones which will keep coming. Sadhika being part of one of the Loomis Pitch Excellence Awards, and so on and so forth. So there are several which keep happening. So keep a watch out for it. And thank you so much once again. We'll be having a short survey as soon as you start logging off. Kindly share your candid feedback. And these feedback help us bring such kind of programs. The last one of them was, why should I ever apply for pitch competitions, is a question which came. And then that's why we came up with this kind of a webinar in order to dispel myths about it. So go ahead and please give us your feedback. Thank you so much and have a lovely day ahead.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.